Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Talks with Nelly, where we bring light through conversations. Today's conversation is very dear to my heart, and I have someone very special here with me in the studios, and I'm hoping you will enjoy these conversations because I am super excited. So with me here is Barrister Dorothy Dee Hirse, who is a legal practitioner with over 17 years of practice. She is also a certified grief educator. She is a trauma-informed care practitioner. She is an anger management coach. She is also a mental health first aider, a mother, a wife, and many other caps that she wears. Please, can we meet you? A fun fact about you. An apology for the name. I hope I got it right. Thank you. So please, can we meet you? A fun fact about you.
Okay, so fun fact about me, I'm a plant mom.
Wow.
Tend and nurture plants, especially flowers.
So you're not just a nurturer of humans, you nurture nature basically. That's beautiful. I stumbled on your story, or I stumbled on you as a person on the internet when Coach Sam started speaking about your planned wedding as at then. And he spoke so well of you that I had no option but to want to check out who is this person. And then I began to learn that, okay, you're a widow, you're a grief educator, and all of that details about you. And I didn't just know why. You know, life has a way of playing tricks on you. I didn't just know why I was drawn to that story of yours. And I just wanted to know your story. And along the way, mine also happened. I became also a widow. And today I have you to have conversation on widowhood, grief, and another chance at life. So I am really looking forward to this conversation, and I hope, ladies and gentlemen who are listening to us, that you will enjoy this conversation. So like we all know, widowhood is a toughest blow that life can deal to anyone. It is usually a journey that involves loss, grief, loneliness, abandonment, stigma, regrets, and trauma. It is not a choice, actually. No one ever chooses to be a widow. But in this journey of widowhood, courage is needed in order to be able to weather through the storms of societal glares, degradation, stigma, and even life itself. So today's conversation is a special one. And I have with me someone here who is a very strong warrior who has gone through the fire but came out smelling like cake. So, welcome to this conversation. Can you please take us through your grief journey? How was it like?
So I think before 2018, I want to say I was living in a different world. And then by November 2018, my husband of 9 years plus died suddenly. And then I just found myself on this journey of single parenting, widowhood. I was about to be 38. He was 44, going on 45. And, you know, so it's a whole new terrain that I had to learn how to navigate. Like I'm learning how to walk and talk and everything that comes with it. So that was how the journey began for me, because I went from being, so my husband's name was Yakubu. So I went from being Martin Yaks to a mother of two very young children. My first was 6, my second was 4. And so there is now this one household, like just one parent household, finances, bills, fees, everything was just now for you and you alone. And, you know, so for me, that was how the journey started. And it's never an easy journey. So sometimes people see us laugh, smile, look good, and they're like, they're over it. It has passed, you know, they're enjoying life. In my own case, I've remarried, so everybody thinks, oh, she has forgotten all that all over social media about Yakubu. She has forgotten about it. Now she has now gotten a new life. So she has forgotten about it and all that. But it's much deeper than that. It's much deeper because you have to choose to want to live again. it's a decision. So most times I tell people that, okay, the grief is not optional, but the suffering in grief, you can choose to suffer in grief, or you can choose to be alive again, even while grieving.
Okay, so I want to just take you back on the loss journey. Okay. So you said suddenly. Can you just expatiate on that? Was he ill? Did anything happen? You just woke up and he was no more, or what happened?
Okay, so like a year plus or 2 years before Yakubu died, he had gone on secondment with an international NGO where every 6 months they were required to have a full medical fitness check and then their report sent from the hospital to the organization. So he had been keeping up with his health and everything. And then this beautiful Saturday morning, woke up, normal day, made breakfast. He asked for his favorite meal, which is tuwon shinkafa and egusi, and I had an event that I wanted to go to, but I stayed back. I made the meal. He went out to go to the mechanic and to the laundry person because I was complaining that I left my glasses in the car and I don't want his mechanic to carry my glasses and give his girlfriend. So he was like, let me go and get your glasses for you before you say my mechanic stole your glasses, So he went out with the other car. I was waiting for him to come back. He brought the car to me, gave me the car, and that was the last time I saw him alive. I was going out for an event. I went out for the event and, we were chatting. I left home around 1 p.m. We chatted till about 3 p.m. He was asking me how the event was, am I coming back soon and all that. And then the last message I sent was past 3 and it wasn't read. So I just assumed he slept. My children were at my neighbor's house. They went for a birthday party. So I got home like past 6. Thereabouts, came in, the door was locked, kept knocking, there was no response, so we had to get the door open. The security man climbed, because it's a duplex, so he climbed up from the veranda with the ladder, opened the door for me. I came into the room and then I found him, he had slumped in our bathroom. And at first I was okay, maybe he fainted and all that.
Your heart would want to deny
everything, So my younger brother, was around. He helped call his friend. Okay, he was around his friend. His friend is the pharmacist. So his friend came, they checked. I saw him shake his head. They now said that I shouldn't worry, let them go and get a medical doctor to just come and check, but I shouldn't touch him. And then that's just how everything unraveled, and here we are. So my grief journey actually is captured in my first book, titled, yes, I wrote a book about it. We say their name because I wanted to document everything I was going through while the memory was still fresh. And then because, like I said, my children were still young, I wanted something that they would grow up and see and maybe understand some decisions that I took then after reading the story.
Oh, that's beautiful. I remember that when you talk about the shock, I remember that when I heard about my husband's demise and was preparing to travel for his burial, I called a friend of mine and I said, hello. I used to call her mother-in-law. And I was like, mother-in-law, Kinji Abinde Sami Babanita. And she was like, Me Faru. In Hausa, she asked, what happened? Yes. And I was like, Ya Rasu. And immediately I dropped that call. It was like, why would you tell such a lie about this guy? How can you even begin to spread such bad news about him? Because even though it was certain he was gone, I could still not embrace it. Even till date, I talk about him and I'm like, for real. Like, you're God, this guy. Yeah. Are you telling me you're really gone? So yeah, I understand the part where your heart just keeps denying it. So, but I want to also hear something. What was it like? Can you take us through what was widowhood like for you? Taking into cognizance the issues with in-laws, inheritance, and other other widowhood practices?
So for me, I had seen and maybe met some widows while growing up. I can't really remember young widows. Okay, a friend or two of mine, but most times when there is a young widow, there are a lot of older women around them. So you really don't get to converse with them to find out about their experiences and all that. But so for me, it was a completely new terrain, and having to navigate cultural expectations, like you said, in-laws, like there was so many things that were expected of me. I questioned some because I just felt, why? So like one of the things, I know the day after Yakubu died, after I came downstairs, and then they told me I had to sit on the floor. And I was asking them, why do I need to sit on the floor? And they said, that's how it's done. I said, why? What's the logic behind it? And they just said, that's how it's done. And I said, no, we don't just do things because that's how it's done. And one question I asked, I said, if it was the other way around and the wife dies, will the man sit on the floor? And they went, no, he's a man now. And I just rolled my eyes. So one of the things that even, I just said, actually, I don't want to sit on the chair was because I wanted to stretch. So they put a mattress and I just sat there and stretched, with pillows and all that. So some of those practices you hear of barbing hair, sleeping with the corpse, bathing the corpse and having you drink the water so that you say it will not kill the person. So many practices. And then I think also there's also this cultural practice where when the man dies, so I'm speaking from a widow's perspective. Maybe a widower can give us a different perspective. But when the man dies, it's like every other thing is taken from you. So you don't even get to plan his funeral most times. You don't get to decide where he should be buried. You don't get to decide when he should be buried. You don't get to decide. That decision is taken away from you.
Yeah, so I remember that my daughter would ask me a lot of things after her father passed. She would ask me, she would say, mommy, where is this? Oh, my husband passed in an accident. And my daughter was eager to find out where his phone was, where the bag he traveled with was. And I told her, I don't know. We have to ask. We have to ask. And at a point she was like, is it not this our daddy that you understand? Why do we now have to ask? So now I think it's understandable that, okay, so it's like there's an immediate rift, a separation that comes in between you and the person. He's no longer your person like he used to be anymore. Yes. There's now a barrier. You have to reach some people to reach him. Oh, wow. Wow. That's quite a whole lot. So, and the good thing, I think, from your mention is that you were quite, let me not call it a rebel like you refer to it. You were quite an informed person. Yeah. So you knew to say, oh, I won't do this. And you were able to make choices.
Yeah, which didn't sit down well with a lot of people. Because it's expected that, okay, your husband has died. Don't say anything. Don't argue. Don't just share anything they tell you. Just accept it like that. So if you voice an opinion, it's seen as you want to tell us you know better. Meanwhile, you just want to feel heard.
You don't even feel
yes, you just want to feel. You want to feel heard. You want to feel seen. That's all. And no, you're supposed to be grieving, mourning, crying. You're not supposed to even have the mind to have conversations, and all that. So yeah.
Oh wow. So I understand all of this, and I'm sure the experiences might be the same, similar, or they might vary according to cultures, traditions, and even the family members. So particularly, was there like some direct antagonism from family members that came off came off harsh?
So the thing is, over time, from experience, I've learned that there is a lot of pain and offense in grief. So sometimes, even when someone is just saying, how are you? Depending on your state of mind at that time, there is offense.
Yeah.
So over time, I've had to, just tell myself that the anger I was feeling at a certain time and, maybe the pain I was feeling over some statements or some attitudes that, I sensed might just be my own projection from my pain.
Oh, yeah.
Because in grief, you're in deep pain and it feels isolating. So it's like nobody understands what I'm going through. I'm the only person that knows what I'm feeling right now. So anything that seems like you might just take offense at it. But in hindsight, like I said, I had to come to a place where I had to release some things, forgive some people, and just let it go, coming from a better understanding that they actually meant well. I just didn't see it then as them meaning well, but they actually meant well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate what you just said. In fact, it's also relieving for me to hear you say it. When you talked about the pain, I remember sharing this with my best friend who also lost her husband. That's the person who was my maid of honor. Yeah. Surprisingly, in the twist of life, she lost her husband 3 months after my husband passed. And this was the man who came for my husband, so he can promise. He said, Nelly, you have us. And then 3 months, you're gone. You understand? And when we're talking about the pain with her, I told her it's a pain that you feel it, but you don't wish your worst enemy that pain. It's that deep that even in the pain of it, you're not wishing another person that pain. It's a deep one. Thank you so much. So on the next question, how was it like giving love another chance?
That was another whole new journey.
Oh, yeah?
Whole new journey.
Take us on this journey.
I think one of our slogans had always been, we've never been here.
Yeah.
For both I and my husband presently. So it's like we're just navigating this. We're still learning the ropes and everything. And I think because of how it seems effortless, it seems magical, it seems you know.
This should sink in. This should sink in. Everyone who is listening should understand that it only seems,
you know. So people just think, oh, it was a walk in the park. I just woke up one day and just let me go and marry again. And I went and married again. But it was a whole lot. It was a whole lot of unlearning. Wow. It was a whole lot of learning. It was a whole lot of relearning. Because you're starting this whole new, I call it a volume, not a chapter, like it's a whole volume. You're starting this whole new volume with a new person. You have to unlearn some of the things that you thought you knew with your late partner.
Yes.
You have to learn new things about this new person, and then you have to relearn some things, because from when Yakubu died to when I remarried, about 6 years. So that means I had been single, a single mother for 6 years. So there were things that I was already set in my ways doing.
Yeah.
So now I have to start learning how to be a wife again, you know, and all that. So that's how the journey has been. It has been a very beautiful one. It has been interesting every day. You know, it's like we're unwrapping and unraveling and just learning. So for me, that's how the journey has been.
So I'll still revisit that part because I still have a question for you there. But I want to I need you to just make a comment on this. There's usually an imbalance in the judgment by society on women and men, you know, on widows and widowers as to remarriage. You know, it's easy for a widower to remarry. People will just look at it and, Yakamata, he needs someone to take care of the children. But when it is a woman, and you know the problem is, women would also cast you.
Yeah.
They will be like, she just moved on so fast. Did she not miss her husband? Was it that easy to forget? Oh, this,
Maybe she
that.
killed him.
All of that and what if not? So please, can you talk about that imbalance? How were you able to weather through that imbalance? Did you face the judgments too?
Oh yes, I did.
Oh wow.
Oh yes, I did. Like I said, 6 years later, I still faced it because, first, so when he died, I heard, oh, you have your children, focus on them, they're your life now, build everything around them. What else can you be looking for? And then, so over time, any male that comes around me that is not my cousin, my family friend, the ones known, there's always this raised eyebrows of, is he the one? Is he this one? Is she? So there was already that. Neighbors, I used to say that I'm sure my neighbors, anybody that comes, and I have a lot of male friends, so I'm an only girl.
Of course, they know you're a fine woman. No, they know you're a fine woman.
I actually grew up with guys around,
Yes.
So I used to say, I'm sure my neighbors will be opening their curtains like, this one, this man is leaving by this time. This one is coming by this time. So when it was now time to remarry, there were certain key people I had to inform, like my parents, like my late husband's parents. I had to inform them. Why? Because their grandchildren are with me. So, and then just like, I think just giving that honor of, okay, she is moving forward. And I know that some of the conversations were quite difficult because there was still this, why? Why do you want to remarry? You have children. Do you want to give birth again? Even if you want to give birth, like, why? Why? They just could not understand. And I know that at some point, I had to tell some people that I am sure if it was the other way around and Yakubu was alive, 3 months down the line, like 3 months is even plenty. We've heard of people remarry 2 weeks after. It was like there was one stand by somebody. I was like, I'm sure you people would tell him, you need it. You have tried 3 months. And they said, yes, he's a man. He needs a woman to take care of the children. And I said, what makes you think the woman does not also need someone? And I told them, I said, it's even more about the companionship. You've been married. You've lost a spouse. I'm sure you would be able to understand when I say that gap when a spouse is no longer there. That companionship. That's when your head hits the pillow and you don't have anybody to talk to. Some women end up using their children as that crutch, as that gap. Their children now become their therapists, their pseudo-husbands, everything they now pour it on the children, which is not advisable. Because your children have a life of their own. Yes. An unhealthy attachment. They are afraid of leaving you when the time comes for them to leave because they feel, my mom depends so much on me. If I leave, it's like I'm abandoning her. But it's not your children. Yes, it's not your children's work. It's not your children's work to make you feel safe, and it's your work. So it's the other way around. And you should be able to release them when it's time for them
to go.
To move on.
Oh wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This conversation is hitting all the right notes for me. So back to remarriage. What was that thing that told you were ready? How did you know that? I think it's about time.
Honestly, I wouldn't say it's one event or one word or one incident. Honestly, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
So, my husband, we had grown a friendship. And over time, we became so close that he's the first person I call, good or bad. Like, I just want to talk to him, bounce off ideas off him and all that. So for me, I feel that it was a natural progression. Like, from here, that was the only way it was leading to. You know, so I wouldn't say that there was this light bulb moment of, aha, it is time, everything has gone, now I'm ready. So honestly, I think everybody's situation is unique, and it depends on the individual. You will know when you're ready.
Oh, wow. Now this is it.
No, you will.
You will know.
You will know when you're ready.
Yeah.
Another thing that I always share with people is you must have done your healing work.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now
because some people,
yes.
So knowing you're ready does not come from a place of I need a man to fill in the gap that one left, or I need a partner that can fill in ABC or can provide ABC while you're still dealing with a lot of
baggage.
Because what that does is you're going to carry that baggage into this new
relationship or this new volume.
Yes, this new volume. You're going to carry that baggage, and then you're going to still hurt this person has no idea.
You bleed all over them.
All over the person.
Oh, wow.
You get. So you have to do your healing work. You have to learn to sit with that pain. You have to face it, which is what a lot of people run away from most times. So a lot of people, you hear them say, I can't even mention his name. Don't even talk about it. Just leave it. But I'm ready. Yes. You're ready, and then you go into it, and the day the man now mentions your late husband's name, it becomes fight. Or there are some things that are now sacred and no-go area. So there is no transparency in this new relationship. And then you're struggling and you're wondering why. And then the truth is, no marriage is perfect. So I'm sure even with your first marriage, there were things that if you had to do it all over again, you would do better. Do differently.
Or not even do at all.
Exactly. So instead of just rushing into a new one, why don't you sit with yourself and go through those things and tell yourself, okay, this was the part I played in it. If I have the chance, I will do it differently. Because now I know that it shouldn't have been. So that when you are now ready to move into your new volume, you will know that, okay, in this marriage, I did this, I did not do this. I want to drop this. I want to still carry on this tradition, and then I want to learn new things. Be open to learning.
The next volume should get better.
Yes.
And there's no need to be guilty about it.
No, there isn't. Because, so there's a lot of guilt that comes with remarrying. Because, like I said, people judge you and people just say, oh, she has not grieved enough. Oh, she has forgotten that one. So all this cry and all these things that she was doing, it was just because she was waiting to just find another person. Now she has found another person. She's moved in, and so she is not grieving anymore. So I tell people that while I might not be grieving actively, that doesn't mean that the grieving has stopped.
Okay, thank you so much. Like this conversation has a lot of light bulb moments for me. Like I have a lot of information, a lot of just revelations, rema, leave it, many things that has come out of this conversation. But there's also another question I have, and this is where, like you explained, you said it is also something that you need to sit with yourself to really decide if you're ready. And you also need to sit with yourself, whether or not, and I think it's whether or not you want to move on. You want to do it for yourself. You want to do it for yourself. You want to heal from everything. You want to heal from the regrets, the guilt, so that you have a better quality of life. Now, my question is, what are the tricks for a blended family? So, because like you said, most of the time, one of the things that holds back a lot of widows is, I have children for another man. I don't want to have for another man. I don't want to marry somebody that has children. How will it work? How will I bring my children and his children and all of that into a new family? What are the tricks you can share for a blended family?
There are tricks.
Yeah,
I don't know if there are tricks, but I think the first thing I would say is just have an open mind. Just keep your heart open and pure. Just so don't force anything. Don't force anything. Your children will always be your children. And if he has children already, just open up. You know how your brother's children, your sister's children, even your neighbor's children, they shall call you mommy. You are their mommy, everybody's mommy. So keep that open mind in those dealings. And always, whatever you do, let it come from a good place. Let it come from a place of, they are all my children. If I can give this to my children, if I can discipline my children on this, I should be able to discipline everybody else on this. And then I think keeping the conversation open will help a lot. Because one of the things that I know that we do a lot is have very open, frank, and hard conversations. Very hard conversations. Because you're a mother, I'm sure that anything that has to do with your children is a very sensitive, it's a touchy area. Like, don't go there. Anything that looks like someone is trying to judge your parenting, like you're not, yes, everything comes out. So there is that. And you just have to be open, because whether you like it or not, for your family to blend, you're all going to stay under one roof. You're going to, so then they're now having a daddy, his children are now having another mommy. You have to help your partner. So it's very good for you to have those conversations where you're able to say, child A has this tendency, has this personality. This is the discipline method or the correction method that I use when I talk to child A. They listen because they don't do well with beating. Child B, that one, just give them a task to do. So you help your partner helps you. And that's how the blending goes on. You know, I usually like describing it like, you know how you want to make akara. You shall want to make stew. All the things you put inside blender, you have to wait for it. If you just do vroom, vroom once and just leave it, the ingredients will not come together. Wow. So it takes a lot. Yes.
The literal meaning of the word blend.
And I'm sure that as it is blending, it's not
going to be uniform at once.
Yes, and it's not even easy. There is some pain, there is some discomfort, there's some breaking down. So it's not all rosy and hey, we're blended. We're sure blended. But the daily work. You know, I talk a lot about work because it takes a lot of work. I talked about grief work, I talked about healing work, I talked about now the blending work, because you have to put in the work if you want to see the results. You don't just sit down and blend. You shall put the ingredients and just leave it and they will blend themselves. No, you have to do the work of the blending. So for me, I think once you approach it with that open mind, just have a good heart towards it. And so one parameter that I use to judge my actions is, am I doing this from a good place? Am I doing this with the right motive? It might not seem right to the person receiving it, but I tend to ask myself if I'm doing this with the right motive. And I feel that if I'm doing it with the right motive, then somehow it will play out that
eventually.
Eventually.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for making our time for this conversation. Before we bring it to a close, I have one question, a very interesting one. So I saw that you have a picture of your late husband in your current home. Can you share why and what it signifies and how we got to that place?
Okay.
Yes.
So, there is a picture of my late husband prominently featured in my new home. So, what was the first one? The why?
Yes.
So, the reason why that picture is there is because I have children that came from that union. and now we're all living in our new home, it doesn't erase the fact that their father lived. He lived a full life, full 44. He did. And he loved them. And as they grow, I want it to just be a reminder of who he was in their lives so that they don't forget. People told me when he died, your children are young. That's Manta. They'll forget. And I prayed and I said, God, I don't want them to forget. I don't want them to forget because this is a whole human being we're talking about. It's not a key holder that got missing. So why people saying they will forget, like he didn't mean anything? It was because he was here and I was that they came. I didn't just create them alone. They still bear his surname. So why would they just forget like that? And so the logic behind it is still the why. But interestingly enough, my husband, my current husband, was the one that actually suggested it, which is very rare. Because a lot of people that see it ask, doesn't he feel some sort of way? How will he feel? Won't he feel like you're comparing him, as if you're imposing all those things? And I tell them, he's even the one that said we should put it. I was okay with just leaving it in the children's room. But he said, no, why are we putting it in the children's room as if we're hiding him?
Just for now, I'd like to say that marrying a widow is a business for real men.
It's
a business for real men.
Yes, it
because
is.
only a man who is very self-aware, very confident in his pace and who he is, will even suggest this to you, because a lot of men already are battling somebody that is not present.
Yeah, I told someone, I said, why are you battling a dead person? Why competing with a dead person? He's not here. Why competing with it? So for me, that was very significant, and honestly, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for me that suggestion came from him, because I didn't want that narrative of, because your husband died, now we'll not hear word again. But like you said, a real man will understand that you had a life before I met you. I shared with him and told him that I'm very sure that if you had met me before Yakubu died, you might not even have liked me. The me that you met was as a result of Yakubu's death. So the me that came after, because this me here was not the me before 2018. Yes. So the me that you met was because Yakubu died. And so he understood and felt like, let's give this man that brought this woman my way, a place of honor and recognition in our home.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I'm also going to put this out that it might not also work like that for you. The picture must not be there, but the fact is that they find a way to live somehow through us, because they actually did live. I was telling my children, I said, don't fight it. Your father lived. I said, he lives through you. I told my daughter, I said, have you looked in the mirror? I said, he lives through you. He's alive. So he can't be forgotten. He can't be erased. I said, and in everything that you do, just remember and look in the mirror and tell him. He said, Daddy, you live through me. I told her this. So yes, our loved ones cannot be forgotten. They live with us. And even if we decide to move on, because one of the things that happens is that we still close the casket on their head and we go back home and eat. Yeah. So it means that we want to live. So why not live it to the fullest? Thank you very much for having this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Are there recommendations you have? I know that you're a grief, let me call it a grief therapist or a grief educator. Are there things you recommend for the healing journey? There are widows out there who should want to know. Books that you could recommend, anything, programs. Are there recommendations you have, like last word, final advice?
So for recommendations, there are a lot of resources, free ones. all you need to do is go online. You want the audio, you want the hard copy, they're all there. And then even for like events, workshops, and all that, I think once you just search, the free ones will come up, the paid ones,
Any notable one
they
that
will
you
come
can,
up. So, like I told you, the reason why I wrote my first book, We Say Their Name, was because I was in this place where I wanted resources. I wanted community where widows and maybe widowers, but people grieving could just have frank discussions, because there are a lot of things that would happen to you in grief that you would think is unique to only you, till you open up and talk with the next person and like, oh, you too, you experienced this. I thought I was the only one. So apart from documenting the journey for my children, I also went ahead to write about my experience as I was going through the journey, because I wanted it to be a body of knowledge where someone would just pick it up and be like, this woman lost her husband and she went through this and emerged. I can do it too. So it's also a book of hope.
Yeah.
It's also a book of hope. It's
Is
a
that
book
book
of
available
yes,
anywhere?
it is. So
Amazon, Seller?
it's on Amazon, it's on Seller, it's on my website.
Awesome.
DorothyHirse.com.
We
Say their name, and then my other books too are listed there.
Awesome.
And then you could also go for therapy. You could attend events. You could just talk with people of like minds, and then just give yourself grace. Be kind to yourself.
That's
Don't judge yourself, your grief, your journey, and be like, she said 6 years and she has already moved on. She has remarried. I say move forward, because you do not move on in grief. You only move forward because you're moving forward with everything that has happened to you on that journey. So you give yourself grace, and somebody is like, and I'm here 14 years. I've not done anything. See, she has written books, she has done this, she has done this. That's my journey.
Like they say, now when person wake up,
Then the morning starts.
Abi. So if you haven't, this is your tap. This is your morning tap. Wake up. You could be better than just existing. And I love that she said you're moving forward. It's not like you're moving on. Moving on means you're leaving everything behind, but you're moving forward. You're carrying along everything. It is shaping you. I would say that of a truth, I'm becoming a better person through what I've experienced in grief and the healing that is still happening. And it is actually birthing a better version of who I am. So you can do all that she has done. And like you said too, yes, it's not a prescription. It's not even doctor's prescription self goes according to your body weight and all that thing. So 6 years must not be 6 years for you. Yours can happen earlier, yours can happen later. But at the end of the day, we're all just beautiful, and we should be our authentic self. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
It was awesome having you. See you next time on another very beautiful conversation. And before we close, because conversations are to be had over a drink, yes, unfortunately we didn't serve you a drink, but because conversations are meant to be had over a drink, we're giving you this cup. So that the next time you have a conversation, you will not spill tea.
I will not.
Thank you so much.
Only the necessary.
Yes. Thank you. You will not spill premium tea. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This.
So thank you very much, everyone. Don't forget, this is Talks with Nelly. Conversations that should be had. See you on another wonderful episode.